Hello again, guys, and welcome back. Moving on from our previous video, this chapter starts with the Palestinians didn't commit the Holocaust. Now, it might be obvious to some people, but a lot of people who, when addressed and asked about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, especially on the Jewish far-right side, yeah, but we were kicked out of Germany because of the Holocaust. Well, what does that have to do with anything? What does the Palestinian, the West Bank have to do with anyone in the Holocaust? We didn't support it. We didn't commit it. We didn't do anything with it. Do you know what I mean? So the Holocaust was done in Europe by Europeans, okay, in several places who had a problem with Jews for a very prolonged period. When ironically at the same time, Jews in Arab and Muslim countries weren't under that much threat as they were in Europe. In fact, they lived peacefully for thousands of years. Jews and Muslims were kicked out of Andalusia, and the Ottoman Empire held both of them. So the Palestinians had nothing to do with it. They condemn it, they did not support it, and they had nothing to do with it. So, stating that, the Holocaust, and seeing as obviously the Jewish people who suffered from the Holocaust went through atrocities, living in concentration camps, mass killings, obviously being forced out of their homes. How can you go through all of these things, then justify them on other people? Someone explain to me. You came to a land, people were living there, and you supported the expulsion and military rule on these people. How? And when I say you, I don't mean obviously every Jewish person, of course, or every Israeli. Not at all. In fact, many Holocaust survivors condemn what Israel does. There's lots of examples out there. Norman Finkelstein, Dr. Gabor Mate spoke about it as well. Others as well spoke about it in much detail. So how can you condemn the atrocity that the Jewish people went through, rightfully so, in Nazi Germany and all across Europe, by the way? It wasn't just Nazi Germany. How can you then come and justify what happened to the Palestinian people? And how can you be so forceful and condemn people who deny the Holocaust, yet you comfortably and casually deny the Nakbah, the catastrophe that the Palestinian people went through, and you justify it under completely wrong excuses? How? We don't want to deny the Holocaust, and we shouldn't deny the Nakbah. Neither should be denied. Both of them were atrocities that happened, and you shouldn't just deny one of them because you're not part of that group of people, or it's just convenient for you and for the rhetoric that you promote and follow and try and show the world. No, even if it's your ancestors, even if it was your mom and dad, or if it was you yourself who committed something wrong previously, one must admit it. It's a noble thing to do, and correct it and move on. We shouldn't live in the past. Everything happened. Correct it. Fix the problems. Move on. We need to look towards a better future, not get stuck in the past. But that will not happen by completely erasing a certain group of people's history whilst religiously sticking on one side of the story. Moving on from the Holocaust, I have a chapter called "It Starts with Education, but it does not end there." And I describe how Arabs, Palestinians in Israel, it's compulsory for them to learn the Hebrew language from first grade, while it isn't compulsory for Jews to learn Arabic, which is very, very bad. And I think it's deliberately done in Israel so that Jews are not open to Arabic culture and the Arabic narrative and the Arabic history and the Arabic point of view. And that should be changed. And I imagine a 10-year plan where, for example, people are being taught the other narrative, whilst not cancelling their own narrative, and whilst not being asked to believe it, but just showing the other narrative, teaching people Arabic, introducing them to the other culture. Small children, get them interacted with each other, make more mixed schools. It'll make things a lot better. Moving on, I talk about the West Bank and how some areas in the West Bank, despite Israel implementing martial law in the West Bank, by the way, on Palestinians, yet Israeli law for Israeli settlers, how some areas in the West Bank are quite peaceful. Like you might have Palestinian majority towns next to a specific Israeli settlement. That Israeli settlement isn't very much a radical hub for complete mentalists and extremists, and each one to their own. They live and they're fine, etc. And I give examples though to how we can all combine it in one state, because in Israel you have Arab majority, Palestinian majority towns, al-Fahim and Nasra, other places, tens of thousands of Arabs, mostly just Arabs, Palestinians living there, and you have Jewish neighbors with Jewish majority towns and cities, and they come to you and you go to them. Nothing happens. We need to implement that throughout the whole country and let everyone have equal, full rights and citizenship and not be deprived of anything that the other person is privileged to have. Then I talk about the areas A, B, and C. Basically, Israel is, when you talk about the West Bank, there's areas A, B, and C. A is Israeli fully controlled land. B is Israel security controlled area with kind of Palestinian control over specific elements. And C is fully Palestinian controlled areas, which really and truly they're not. They just run to the day-to-day policing and municipality stuff and what have you. Israel has the upper hand on everything, and it implements martial law. They can do whatever they want. The Israeli military does everything they want when it comes to the West Bank. And how the injustice in these areas should just end. These people should be offered full citizenship. They should have access to all of the rights that Israelis have and Israeli settlers have that live just a couple of 100 meters away from them, so that the injustice can stop and we can finally live in a normal and peaceful country. Moving on from that, which is very, very relevant, I have a chapter called Do We Believe in Universal Human Rights? The UN has a list of human rights that are supposed to be for everyone. Do we believe in them? Or do we just believe that a certain group of people is entitled for them and another group of people is not? And I'll read out some of them for you because they're so basic, yet they're so vital. For example, 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Is that the case? Is that the case in Palestine? Is that the case in Israel? Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political and other opinion, national or social origin, property. Everyone has the right to life, liberty and security. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. And the list moves on. We need these to be truly universal and to be implemented on both Israeli Jews and Palestinian Arabs of every single background, so we can have a normal state that we all live in peacefully.